In the winter of 1847, in a county no map dared name, there stood a house that loomed over the valley like a dark sentinel. Its walls, blackened with smoke and age, seemed to absorb the weak light of the sun, refusing to reflect it back. Travelers avoided its gates. Children never dared near the twisted path leading to its cellar door. For 12 long years, that iron-bound door remained locked. Behind it, a secret waited, an absence, a silence, a presence no human eye had ever measured. The master of the house, a man wealthy and respected by the world above, had purchased a boy at a hidden auction. A boy so pale that the candlelight seemed to bend around him, casting him in a ghostly glow. His eyes, icy and unblinking, mirrored a depth no child should carry. The townspeople whispered quietly of the boy's condition, of the way his skin reflected the world like water under the moon. But their questions died in polite nods and careful avoidance. Silence was demanded, enforced, and accepted. The boy was led down a narrow spiral staircase into the cellar, a chamber damp with mold, heavy with the scent of rot and earth. His small hands brushed the rough stone walls as he descended, lungs stinging with the chill of that subterranean prison. The master's voice, cold and commanding, followed him. "You belong to me now, and no one shall see you, not even God himself." And so he was left. 12 years would pass. A dozen winters draped themselves over him like chains of frost. The world above continued, its rhythms of church bells, flowing rivers, and distant conversations, unchanged by the child below. But in that cellar, time fractured. Shadows grew long and moved as if alive. The boy's mind began to echo with whispers of a world only he could perceive. Memory and imagination fused into a single reality, a private universe ruled by fear, hunger, and cold. The master believed he had tamed the boy, bending him to obedience. He underestimated the mind's capacity to evolve under pressure, to adapt in ways the human eye cannot see. By the time the iron door would open, the boy would no longer be entirely human. And the truth of his transformation would shatter everything the town, the institutions, and the families above had built their morality upon. Because the boy who emerged from that cellar carried the weight of 12 years of isolation. He carried darkness shaped not by nature, but by human hands. He was the echo of cruelty, the shadow of secrecy, the living embodiment of what the civilized world refuses to acknowledge. The town itself had learned to ignore the house. Mothers hushed their children. Fathers averted their eyes. And in the halls of the churches, in the orphanages, in the homes of respected citizens, no one dared question the absence of the boy. Curiosity was dangerous. To speak aloud was to invite misfortune. And so, a collective silence enveloped the county, thick and suffocating. Outside the cellar, the master maintained his carefully curated image, generous host, pious gentleman, arbiter of social order. Candles flickered over polished wood, laughter rang through the halls, music filled the drawing rooms. But beneath the veneer of civility lay a chamber of unending darkness. Every drip of water, every scuttling rat, every shifting shadow was a pulse, a rhythm, a heartbeat of suffering. Within the cellar, the boy adapted. Time had reshaped him. His senses sharpened to unnatural acuity. He could hear the master's footsteps above, the subtle scraping of chair legs on the floor, the distant creak of a door closing miles away. Smells carried messages. The bread cooling in the kitchen, the copper tang of blood from an old wound, the iron-rich rot of water in the stone corners. He invented companions from shadows, conversations from silence, logic from dreams. These mental constructs whispered forbidden truths that the world above denied. The line between reality and imagination blurred. The boy's isolation became a crucible, reshaping body and mind alike. Above, the town continued its rituals of morality, proud of its institutions, blind to its own complicity. The churches preached virtue, the orphanages promised care, the families maintained appearances of piety. And yet, beneath the surface, corruption flourished. Questions about the missing boy were deflected or silenced. Complaints evaporated in polite nods and wary glances. The town had folded over itself, creating a protective shell around its unacknowledged darkness. Within the cellar, the boy learned patience, the most dangerous skill of all. Every day stretched him, every year refined him. By the time he would emerge, he would be something that no human institution could contain, no moral framework could comprehend, and no town could forgive. Time in the cellar was measured not by hours or days, but by the slow unfolding of shadows across stone walls. The boy's body, once fragile, began to adapt to darkness. His skin seemed almost translucent, veins like rivers of cobalt threading beneath the surface. His hair grew in uneven strands, a chaotic crown shaped by the cellar's oppressive atmosphere. His eyes, pale and reflective, became attuned to the faintest movement. He could hear the faintest whisper of footsteps above, the soft rustle of fabric, the barely audible sigh of the wind outside. But it was not just the body that transformed. The mind evolved, bending, stretching, and reshaping itself around the realities of confinement. Silence became language. Shadows became companions. Hunger and cold were teachers. The boy invented entire societies from his imagination, conversing with them, learning from them, and slowly mastering the art of patience, endurance, and calculation. The master, oblivious to the profound change occurring below his polished floors, maintained his facade of control. He did not suspect that the boy he had imprisoned, believing himself a master of discipline, was quietly developing powers of perception and thought beyond human norms. He believed he had stripped the boy of humanity, yet the boy was quietly cultivating a new one, a hybrid of fear, intellect, and shadow. Outside, the town's eyes remained averted. Children whispered in the alleyways, claiming glimpses of a pale figure moving in the darkened windows of the master's house. But adults dismissed them, and the whispers died in the fear-laden hush of conformity. The town had trained itself to ignore questions it could not answer, to turn away from truths too dark to face. The master's confidence in his absolute control became his greatest weakness. In the drawing rooms of the town, he smiled, boasting of discipline and power. He believed that his moral and social authority could mold the boy into a perfect servant, an invisible extension of his will. But control is an illusion, especially over minds forced to survive. Beneath the house, the boy's awareness grew. He could anticipate the master's movements, predict his moods, and manipulate the subtle environment of the cellar to his advantage. Each sound, each vibration, each faint odor became a part of a map that only he could read. And yet, he waited. Patience, honed over 12 years, had taught him that some moments are worth years of silence. The cellar was more than a prison. It was an incubator of change. Time, hunger, cold, and darkness sculpted the boy into something that transcended the human form. Bones strengthened, muscles adapted to confined movement, senses sharpened to preternatural levels. And the mind, pressured and stretched, became a labyrinth where reality and imagination entwined in ways the master could not understand. Every night, he whispered to the shadows. Every echo answered. And through these conversations with darkness, he learned truths the world above refused to acknowledge: the cruelty of men, the fragility of social facades, and the lurking presence of ancient, unspoken horrors. The boy's imagination drew upon the forgotten histories of the land, the whispered legends of vanished communities, orphaned children, and violent families. In these stories, he found patterns, symbols, and archetypes that mirrored his own confinement. The cellar, in his mind, was not merely stone and mortar. It was a vessel of memory, trauma, and ancient knowledge. He became a living repository of suppressed truths, a reflection of the violence hidden beneath polite society. The house above, the town outside, the churches, the orphanages, they all carried the weight of denial, and he, trapped in darkness, became the mirror of their unacknowledged sins. The town's institutions, proud of their morality and decorum, were complicit in the boy's suffering. Questions were silenced, complaints dismissed, and observations ignored. Churches preached virtue while turning away from injustice. Families maintained appearances of propriety while hiding truths that could unravel their lives. The boy's absence became a secret held collectively, a testament to the dangerous power of societal silence. Occasionally, the town sensed something amiss. Strange sounds, fleeting shadows, glimpses of pale eyes through windows. But these moments were brief, explained away, rationalized, and ultimately forgotten. Fear of the unknown kept curiosity at bay, And so the secret endured, undisturbed, except by the boy who had learned patience as the master had not. Even the master could not escape the growing shadow of his own hubris. At times, he felt a chill that could not be explained, heard footsteps when none existed, and glimpsed movement from the corner of his eye. His subconscious suspected that something in the cellar had changed, yet he could not name it, could not comprehend it, and could not stop it. The boy, now nearly an adult, had acquired an almost supernatural acuity. Every sound, every vibration, every faint scent became a part of his awareness. He could anticipate the master's actions, sense the mood of the town outside, and manipulate shadows in ways that seemed impossible. The cellar, once a place of punishment, had become a source of power. The cellar had molded him, shaping his mind and body. Darkness became a companion, silence a teacher. He no longer feared. He learned to listen, to the earth, the walls, the echoes of the town, and the faint whispers of history itself. He was no longer a boy. He was something new, a creature born of cruelty and time, a living testament to the consequences of human denial. One evening, the master descended the stairs to deliver punishment, unaware of the boy's transformation. The air shifted. Shadows seemed to move independently, and the boy, calm and measured, met the master's gaze without fear. The man recoiled, sensing a presence that defied explanation. For the first time, the master realized he was no longer in control. Rumors began to leak. The townspeople noticed glimpses of movement, strange noises at night, and shadows that did not belong. Fear spread silently, carried by hushed conversations and wary glances. The master's power, once absolute, began to crumble. The cellar door finally opened. The boy stepped into the light, and the world above recoiled. He was no longer fully human. His presence carried the weight of 12 years of isolation, darkness, and transformation. The town, the families, the institutions, none could comprehend what they were witnessing. The town struggled to reconcile what they had ignored for so long. Families confronted their complicity. The churches faced the impossibility of moral absolution. And the boy, now a being of shadow and history, moved through the world, a reminder of what happens when cruelty is hidden and silence is enforced. In the end, the cellar remained empty, but its legacy endured. The boy had become a testament to ancient trauma, suppressed truths, and the corruption of institutions. His presence lingered in the whispers of the town, in the shadows of houses, in the memories of those who had looked away. The story was not of ghosts. It was of the living, of the darkness humanity refuses to face, and of the truth that waits in silence, patient and eternal.